another option is they often have flexible payment plans. So you pay as they bill. You don't have to normally pay all at once. You pay in steps as the construction moves forward. I think for the first thing first is finding the right developer. We need to find a trusted builder, look around and see what they have built before. After that, once you find a project that you like, you look at and check the contract. This is super important because normally in the contract, it should cover things like what the villa will look like, when the payments plan, and what happens if things take longer than it's planned.
Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Seven Stones Business Podcast. Today we're going to talk about one of the hotter topics in Bali these days, which is off-plan villas and the do's and don'ts around that process. And together with me today I have Yoshi, who is part of our real estate team. So maybe you can give us a short introduction. Who is Yoshi?
Hello everyone, I'm Tsuyoshi. I'm part of real estate team in Seven Stones Indonesia.
So the topic today, off-plans. I think I've been around for quite some time in the real estate market in Bali in particular, and I've seen the sort of trend of off-plans coming and going a few times. But I think I've never seen it as, it's the right word, crazy as these days. You know, it's an awful lot of off-plan offerings. So I guess maybe we can start with, why do you think that is such a trend, and what's the positive sides of that?
Okay, so why everyone considering to buy off-plan? Because there are several options. Because the first option is getting a good deal early on. So if you buy the property early, your property could get a better price than when it's already finished, and also your property could be worth a lot more if the area gets nicer and they already finished the building. And also for another option is they often have flexible payment plans. So you pay as they bill. You don't have to normally pay all at once. You pay in steps as the construction moves forward.
So I guess the benefits, people can purchase a property over a little bit of time, maybe 12 months, 18 months, something like that. And you're then saying that some of the developers maybe offer better prices for someone coming in early, and as the prices, as we've seen in Bali, maybe over that 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever it is, the property value has actually gone up, and you can resell, I guess, with a profit, and even sometimes without having to put up all the money.
Yes, that's right.
So I guess, we see that there is quite a few benefits for a buyer, but I guess also people need to be, as they say, buyer beware. What do you think are the most important legal aspects that a buyer need to be aware when they're looking at buying off-plan?
I think for the legal landscape in Indonesia, especially in Bali, for the common practice is by establishing the PTPMA, or Perseroan Terbatas Penanaman Modal Asing, which is foreign-owned limited liability company, and then gets the hak guna bangunan, or HGB, a right to build title held by the PTPMA, and also alternatively, leasehold agreement are also prevalent, which is offering a right to use the land and the building for a specific period of time. And also don't forget to get the legal advice with the professional teams, because they can help you for the check the validity of the documents and help you during the buying process.
So I guess the one aspect is the legal setup for the buyer, and like we always say, use a PMA or a PTY Ltd equal. It's really the only way you can do business in Indonesia. And then a good due diligence towards maybe things like zoning and build permits and so on and so on. So I guess then the next would be, what would typically be the steps? You touched a little bit on due diligence and setup, but when they actually decide on a property, what would sort of be the steps that typically a buyer should take?
I think for the first thing first is finding the right developer. We need to find a trusted builder, look around and see what they have built before. After that, once you find a project that you like, you look at and check the contract. This is super important because we need to know what we are paying, when we need to pay it, and when they plan to finish the building. Make sure everything is clear.
So what kind of typical contracts do people work with? Like you see sometimes people sell an off-plan villa into a structured lease agreement. Sometimes we also see that they operate with several different agreements. So there may be a lease agreement, there may be a construction agreement, there may even be a kind of management of construction agreement.
Normally in the contract, it should cover things like what the villa will look like, when the payments plan, and what happens if things take longer than it's planned.
So let's say there is some default maybe on the developer, that there's slow penalties and possibly eventual exit, I guess. But then also on the other side, that if a buyer doesn't pay, what is the right of the developer and what's the possible termination or exit of that contract, I guess, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
I guess one thing then, in addition to the sort of roadmap and what to look for and not to look for, good developer, samples of what they've done, right zoning, like we talk about a lot, proper structured contracts, due diligence. Is there any other pitfalls that you see? Like maybe what we call the bill of quantity, quality, and so on? Should that be part of the agreements, like a construction agreement, or?
The biggest pitfall is believing in the unrealistic ROI, not knowing about the tax, the transfer tax in the off-plan.
Yeah, so we see a lot of this when it's too good to be true. It normally is a lot of over-promising on ROIs, and the tax structure sometimes a presented ROI that a developer or sometimes also management company presents aren't properly structured, so you don't really know your real bottom line. Yeah. So when you, I think now we see almost not all over Bali, but at least in the Badung, Gianyar, Tabanan, there's an awful lot of off-plans. What do you think is the sexy areas, the good areas, the hot spots to buy into today?
I think for the Bali has many great areas, such as Canggu, Prerenan, Sese are very well known for the younger people because it's got cool cafes, beach clubs, and more lively atmosphere. And also Ungasan, Dingin, Uluwatu, Pecatu are well known for beautiful beaches, stunning cliffs, and a more relaxed feel. Ubud and Tabanan well known for the beautiful nature, rice fields, waterfalls, and also the wellness things such as yoga, meditation, and spa.
Yeah. Sometimes we also see that people are buying villas for different reasons. Like we talk sometimes, or in the past, we talked about lifestyle investments, which means they're enjoying the property. They're not necessarily overly concerned about ROIs. But what would be the difference between, if any, buying a property to utilize it themselves, live in it or partly live in it, and then for what we would call an ROI investment or a money-driven investment?
Okay. If you're buying a residential or a lifestyle villa, like a place to live in or use for your own holidays, you will probably focus on like the design, the location, and how it feels to you. But if you're looking for the rentals or return on investment, you will need to think about the most popular areas for the renters, how much can you charge, and what are the ongoing costs.
What do you think are the good sources to evaluate a good ROI? Like maybe, Airbnb, or similar to that AirDNA, where you can get some data. There's also a few local institutions that provide data. Do you have any tips on that?
You should check the AirDNA. I think that's the very accurate information that you can get for the ROI.
Yeah, and you can see trends, ups and downs in the market, prices, and so on. Yeah. Well, thank you, Yoshi. I think that was fairly to the point on what people should watch out for when they do consider off-plans. And like we say, we are not against off-plans, but we do recommend to people to do proper due diligence, look at the developers, area, zoning, and all of these aspects that we talk about. If anyone has any comments or suggestions or wants to know more about how to do off-plan structures or source off-plan properties, please reach out with a comment below or contact us through, as usual, social media, WhatsApp, email, or just come by to our office.